It's easy to get disillusioned with ordinary life, but what if there's more to it than meets the eye?
Everyday, ordinary life is where extraordinary faith is built. It's where we actually get to walk with Jesus.
This podcast is all about looking at all of life, the highs, the lows, and plateaus, through the lens of a journey with Jesus.
Whoever you are, wherever you're at, God sees you and wants to walk with you.
Only when you choose to do life with Him does the ordinary become wonderful. What's up, Whoa fam?
What's
up? Welcome back to another episode of Wonderfully Ordinary. I'm your host, Sammy.
And I'm your co-host, Desha. Wait, Sammy.
What?
Some people were telling me, why do you call yourself a co-host? You're also a host. I'm like, well, host and co-host. Can you have two hosts? Isn't it like host and co-host?
Or two co-hosts.
Or
like,
I guess two co-hosts.
because we're half. You know?
Half of one.
Half of one, exactly.
Put us together, we're one.
Exactly. Wonderfully Ordinary.
Well, anyways.
I don't know.
I guess we're both your hosts and we're both your co-hosts.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Exactly. That's the answer to that.
Well, before we pop into this episode, we are going to be talking about lots of things that deal with friendship and community and people, because we love people.
And just social things.
Awkwardness.
Yep.
If you've ever had
Experienced
a moment.
that.
Yikes.
On
Yeah.
the daily?
We're talking about it all because let's be real. Sammy's an awkward. I'm just joking.
I'm the awkward one.
I'm the awkward one
we're
too,
both
though.
awkward.
I have my moments, and sometimes we'll talk about this later. I just like spend my days like at night
reliving them, right?
The awkward, like, why did I say that?
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay.
I do that
The
all
Lord
the time.
redeems all.
Yeah.
But before we pop into that, it's your favorite time of the episode.
Drum roll, please.
Not talking about that again. If you know, you know. But it is time for
High-Low Buffalo.
And no, there are no real buffaloes here today.
Yeah.
I asked Sammy before we started recording, and she forgot hers at home.
Yeah.
But I do have a water buffalo.
What?
If you were a true church kid, you will know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Everybody
Veggie
has
Tales.
a water buffalo. Mine is
I don't know
big
the song,
and yours
though.
is small. Anyway, I'm going to go back to my home where
Okay,
I came from for
you-
this awkward moment.
It's
Anyways,
okay. We're still friends, right?
I hope so. I guess we'll find out by the end of this episode.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
Sammy, why don't you kick us off
Me
with your
first?
high-low buffalo?
Okay. My high this week was, let me think what I did this week. I got to have dinner with like old small group leader / like mentor. And that was super sweet.
That's so sweet.
I haven't caught up with her in a while. And we ate Greek food and it was so good. I just love Greek food, guys.
Greek food is like refreshing,
Greek
right?
/ Middle Eastern.
It's
yeah,
always
I had
so
like
fresh.
a plate of rice and then
Yum.
potatoes and chicken and hummus and pita. Oh, so
Oh, wow. That's so good.
good.
Okay, if you are in the Miami SoFlo area, there's this restaurant. I don't know, Sam, if you've ever been here, but it's called Motek.
No.
It's so good. It's like Middle Eastern, like
Ooh.
Israeli type foods.
Yeah.
It's so good. I guess it's not Greek, but it
But
has
it's
that
like,
vibe.
honestly, it's all the same to me.
Yeah.
Isn't that like a...
Don't be uncultured, Sammy.
No, I know.
Just joking.
No, but there's...
They're
It's Greek to me. It's all Greek to me. Isn't that
they're
a phrase?
close. They're close enough to each other. I don't know.
Anyways,
but
okay.
Motek is good, and they have it in like Aventura, and I think they have some other place. Also, Sesame is owned by Motek, but it's like cafe bakery vibes.
Mm.
This is your weekly recommendation of places to go,
I
along
know,
with Wells
from
Coffee.
your travel.
Shout out to Wells Coffee.
This is like the 4th episode you talk about Wells.
We're gonna have to be sponsored by them eventually.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let me think. My low. I felt like I had something, but clearly it's not that memorable, I guess. My chapstick isn't really working.
You were telling me that
Yeah,
the other day.
it's really annoying. So I'm trying to do some research there with that. But yeah. And then my buffalo.
Okay, this will be my buffalo too, because
Yeah,
I know
'cause
what you're
it's the
gonna
same
say.
thing.
So we can start with my buffalo / Sammy's buffalo. Okay, tell them what we saw.
Okay, guys. So we were on a walk
Set
in
the scene.
downtown
Yeah,
Fort
set the scene.
Lauderdale. It's downtown Fort Lauderdale. We're on Riverwalk, which is just this river that goes to the middle of the city.
Imagine it's sunset. The vibes are
Yes.
immaculate.
The breeze is there. It's just really nice. Everyone's out with dogs and with family and stuff. And we look over, and the first thing I saw
I
No,
see the
no, you
guy.
saw the guy, right? Okay, yeah. The first thing I saw is this guy on one of those water jetpack things. It's like a hoverboard
Kind
almost.
of like
Like he could go
it almost looks like a surfboard.
but
Like
it's tiny.
I'm like he's skateboarding on the water. That's what I saw.
Basically, yeah. But he could also go up on it. We didn't
Yeah, like it has some kind of like
It's
I don't
like a
know
jetpack
with
that
like the
water
water.
shoots out of it.
I don't know. That was cool enough.
Yeah.
But then
But then only a few feet behind him is a jet ski that he's dragging and a dog, a Labrador. Wait. Was it a Labrador retriever or like a golden?
it was
It
a
was a
golden.
dog. It was
It
a dog.
was a dog
And it was a big dog just sitting on the jet ski
by
and
itself
literally
with a life jacket.
like just not doing anything and he just was chilling on the jet ski.
I was shocked, and
It was hilarious.
Sammy's video, like guys, if you go follow Sammy and look at her reels because her video is like popping off. How many views? Like
It's
over 20K.
like 25,000.
That's incredible,
And
it's worth the watch.
Yeah, honestly, it's my most successful reel. So go like it, go send it. I think over 800 people have sent it to someone.
That's
you know, the little.
crazy. Like it's
so
literally
funny.
a dog on a jet ski by itself. Like I don't even think it had any restraints. I don't know how
No,
he
he
wasn't
just stayed
falling
on
off of
there.
it.
I think he was trained and he just loved his life. I wish I had his
You
life.
know what it made me realize is that a dog has better life than me.
Well,
on this
so
jet ski.
it got on the Only in Broward like page,
Yeah.
and then other people I guess saw it too later on in the river, but these people were on a boat, so they got a
Yeah.
much better video than me,
Mhm.
and you could see the dog had goggles on too,
Oh my
and was
gosh,
just
so
like
cute.
vibing. You know,
Yeah, that
goals.
was honestly
That's the
so
best
much fun.
buffalo.
I can't believe we saw that.
I think we identified in that moment like this will be our buffalo.
Yes, we just knew. It was worth the share.
Yeah. Well, what's your high low, Stash?
High, low. Let's see. My high is actually from today. We had beach baptisms, and that's always just
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful. So much fun. There was like over 300 people who got
Yes,
baptized today.
yeah.
So I think that's just always such a fun to see like people's lives being transformed and
Yeah.
like just seeing like the representation of like going under the water and coming up. Like that was just so beautiful.
Mhm.
Buffalo, we've already stated. Love that dog. Low, honestly, I don't even know if I really have a low, to be
Yay.
honest. I guess the only low I'm starting to feel it's like a good low. You know when lows like things are stressful, but it's like a good stress because you know that the end is gonna be so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm starting to plan slowly for my trip to Europe.
Oh yeah.
Super excited. But just like making sure that everything is done because like when you fly across the country, you want to make sure like I'm not gonna get deported, am I? Like, do I have the right documentation? Tickets are booked.
I not thought that.
No, like if you don't like get your visa, like you'll legit fly there and then they'll be like, honey, you're going home. Can you
Yeah.
imagine how depressing that would
But
be?
that's not deported. That's just like
I mean, kind of.
sent home.
What does deported mean?
I guess I feel like deported's when you're trying to go live in a country and then you're sent back. You're just trying to
I
go
don't know.
visit.
Either way, you're being deported.
Okay.
But yeah, but everything is good, so I'm excited.
Yay.
Trying
I'm
to buy
excited
some
for
last minute
you.
things, so cannot wait.
Yeah.
But it's been a little I'm like one of the main people planning this all for our group. So I'm also
Yeah.
like, you know what the most stressful part is? Let me tell you guys. Lean in close. The most stressful part is figuring out what reels I'm gonna recreate.
I'm dead. What? Also, she's been trying her outfits on for work, so she comes in
Me!
dressing
Don't
so
put me
cute.
on blast. Another hack. Try on your outfits
No, that's
before
smart,
you
that's
go.
smart.
Because I was wearing them to work, seeing like, do I like how this looks? I'm not trying to be
And,
vain.
like,
I'm just like
comfortable in
being
it.
like chill.
Yeah.
Does it look cute? If it does look cute, great. Can I walk in this for hours? Yes,
Yeah.
check. So I'm just testing my outfits.
Honestly, it's like one of my favorite parts of the week. That should have been my
Like, what is
high.
Stasher gonna wear
Little
today?
fashion
Who knows?
show.
Who knows?
Strut, strut. There-
So thank you, Sammy.
You're
I'm gonna
welcome.
strut next time.
You're welcome. No, yeah, there's this song that we did in camp for girls to like do a catwalk, but now I'm gonna forget how it goes. It was just a beat we would make. Like,
Oh,
yeah, I'll figure it out. I really can't remember right now.
I don't know. Well, all of that coming down to say that having good friends who support you in your outfits is really important. But guess what? I couldn't have had those supportive friends if I didn't go out and build community. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're going to talk about today
Yeah.
is just community as a whole, because I think living as like a 20 something like or early young adult, well, honestly, you could be 75 and still struggle with community, to be real.
Yeah.
So like community is a hard thing to grasp sometimes when you're coming in and either you have no friends and you're like, where do I start? Like, this is scary. Like, will people like me? Maybe you're the judgmental one and you're like,
Mm,
ugh, I can't be friends with those people. Maybe you have a great community and you just struggle to be yourself and you're over trying to
yeah.
act perfect. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lots of things that can happen in that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what prompted like us kind of talking about this is just hearing a lot of really cool feedback about how when we get to talk about really relatable topics, it resonates with people. And honestly, it's helpful for us because it's relatable even now to this day. So,
Yeah.
like, when I was thinking about this idea of community, um, I felt like I first went back in my head to high school. Honestly, we could go way back before that, but in my head, I went back to
Mhm.
high school because just for context, I grew up at the same church and school community from kindergarten to 8th grade.
Wow.
So honestly, like, yeah, there's some awkwardness here, there, some embarrassing moments, like normal. But I was around the same people for most of that time. So I didn't really learn until I was taken out of that community what it looks like to build new friends.
Mm,
And it's so hard, especially in high school where you're trying to
yeah.
figure yourself out and fit in, but then also be true to yourself and who even I am. Oh my gosh, words. Who even am I? Right?
Words.
And
No,
sometimes you fumble your words in front of other people that are new and then you just get embarrassed and that's
Sammy,
okay.
if I was you, I'd be thinking about that moment right now, later tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So, um, there's like, I don't know, times where I look back at that season of my life and I'll cringe, but then sometimes I look back and I'm so thankful that I went through it because on the
That's true.
other end of it, like the Sammy that gets to sit before you today is only created through those hard things
Yeah,
and awkward things. And
for sure.
honestly, I've come to fully believe that we're all awkward, okay?
I believe
We're
that.
all, like, unique, and we all have weird parts of us, and if you
Yes.
just embrace it and stop worrying about, like, embarrassing yourself or what other people think of you, the minute that that starts to go, like, out the door, the minute you get to walk in so much joy and freedom, and that's what's, like, really changed my life around, you know?
I agree. The moment I stopped caring what people were thinking and why I if you can't see the video, I'm putting air quotes about around what people are thinking. And it's because honestly, I think that 9 out of 10 times people are not thinking that.
Mm,
Like,
yeah.
I think a lot of times you're like, "Oh, people are judging me," and I'm like, "Sure, maybe 1 out of 10 times someone is, because
Yeah.
someone always is." But the majority of the time, like, people are not thinking the things that you're thinking, and you are just in your own head, and
Mhm.
I think that's just, like, the tactic of the enemy to keep you away from people, to keep you insecure, to be not confident in who you are as who God says you are, and that can be hard and stressful, and I've done that to myself where I'm like, "Oh, they must think I'm weird. Oh, I
Mhm.
said that funny. I look funny or I maybe my culture makes me funny and people don't understand." And I'm like,
Yeah.
if and let me tell you, I don't even think like that usually about people. But it's like if I'm not judging the people around me, why would they be judging me? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're almost like making up scenarios in your head that are not real.
Yeah. Honestly, I was the worst at that. I still am a very imaginative person, so I can make up scenarios for like anything. And sometimes it's not a bad thing cuz I can prepare for like a hard conversation by thinking about what I need to say or what they might ask, right?
Right.
Like that's kind of smart. But other than that, half the time I'm thinking about all these what if scenarios. Oh my gosh, there's this person on Instagram. What's his name? I forgot his name. He makes these funny reels where the way he edits it, it's kind of like a commercial or an infomercial. You know what I'm talking
Is he
about?
Asian?
Yes, he's Asian.
I love
Yeah, and he'll
him.
be like laughing about all these things like anxiety or overthinking or
And then he goes to sell like
yeah, and
something.
he'll be like, "It's all for free 99."
I love that guy.
And so he was like he said something in a video once, I think it was about overthinking. He was like, 99% of the time or 100% of the time, everything I overthink about doesn't happen, so it works.
But isn't that funny though?
I
Is
was
that
like,
it
"That's literally
normally
what I
does
do."
not happen
Yeah,
and it's all in our heads.
yeah.
Also though, there's the other speaking of like it doesn't happen, there's the other side of the spectrum where you are judging someone,
Mhm.
you are like imagining that they're a certain way, and then when you actually finally get to know them, they are
Yeah.
not like that. And let me tell you a little story. Let's go back to like 8th grade Stasha. So in or 7th, I don't know, whatever, middle school?
Middle
At
school.
some point in middle school. So when I was in middle school, there was a girl in my class where I kid you not, I made up a story in my head about her. I made it up that she's mean, that she's a cool girl, that she doesn't like care about anyone else but herself, that she like dresses cool because she's stuck up, all this
Mm.
stuff. And mind you, I had never once talked to her in my life.
Mm.
B, I didn't even know her friend. So and no one was talking about her. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why. I looked at her and I decided that was facts. And then fast forward like I don't know, like a year or so later, I get my schedule gets like switched around and I end up having a new homeroom. And when I go in there, guess who's sitting next to me in class? That girl.
Miss Cool Girl.
Miss Cool Girl that I was convinced was mean and not someone I'd ever want to be friends with.
Mm.
Yeah, and guess what happens? We start talking because you kind of have to sometimes in class.
Yeah.
And she turned out to be the most sweetest girl ever that we actually became very close friends. And she was actually very similar to me. So,
Wow.
isn't that crazy that I had built this story in my head
Yeah.
and had judged her before I had ever spoken to her? Um, to the point, I'm like, why did I make those things up? I don't know. Was I insecure?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Did she have something that I wanted and I was jealous? Possibly.
Probably, yeah.
So, like, I even think of like now to adulthood, I think a lot of us have, maybe some of us have or have had this problem where you come into a group and you're like, okay, I have to find this specific person
Mhm.
who dresses this certain way. Like, let me tell you, I love fashion. I really do. And I like,
Mhm.
sometimes I wear extravagant outfits, not like crazy, like Lady Gaga in her meat outfit, not like that. That would be wild. Not like that. But just
But you have, like, a
like a
specific
little bit like
taste.
more, I don't,
I feel like you're very elegant or you like to dress up sometimes.
I guess let's say I overdress half the time. So it's like in situations where
Yeah.
people are probably more chill in their outfits, I'm like on the higher extreme only just because I'm bored and I love it.
And you
And
enjoy
it's
it,
just like a
yeah.
fun way for me to express myself. But so yeah, whatever. So I like to do that, right? And then so I might be like, oh, I need to find people who are the same that also
Mhm.
dress the way I dress. And if anyone was to wear jeans and a t-shirt and that's it, I would never be friends with them. Can you imagine? I'd have no friends.
Yeah.
Like maybe one who like lives like in New York because everyone in New York dresses cool. So it's like, why are we building these expectations for people and like setting these standards when you could be missing out on some of your greatest friendships in life and community because you're like, you don't have the same car as me, you're not in the same tax bracket as me,
Mm.
you don't dress the same way as me, when God is trying to show you something through people who might look very different from you. And I
Yeah.
think that's like the beauty of being friends with people of all kind and just
Yeah.
letting friendships blossom by who they are as people, not because of some things like society has set or you've set in your
Yeah.
mind.
And I think too, we sometimes, without realizing it, have those judgments in our head. Especially now as we're older, there might have been things we experienced as kids or things that like our families thought and that the community we grew up in thought that now have impacted the way we view other people. And we have to
Right.
like deconstruct that a little bit and start to view everyone through a lens of like, they're also a child or a creation of God. They're
Yeah.
also someone that I should love and who I should like show some respect to and also just like be curious about. It doesn't mean you have to be best friends with
No.
every person in your
Right.
community. That's not possible. But aside from being an extrovert, I will admit that. But we can kind of talk a little bit to like the two sides of it because I feel like I'm way more extroverted than you.
Well,
But that's not
I wouldn't even say I'm an extrovert. I'm like an introvert. Oh, I just saw this.
you're an
What is that?
you're an extroverted introvert?
Extroverted introvert. Yeah, that.
So, like, you're more of an introvert, but you're
Yes.
still not, like, always wanting to be by yourself.
I like being by
You're an
myself. But
ambivert.
yeah, whatever that word is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyways, what I'm trying to say here is it doesn't matter if you're extremely extroverted like me or maybe, like, in the middle or extremely introverted, like, we were built for community,
Right.
and, yes, some people, like, small talk and community that involves acquaintances like frustrates you because you just want to go deep and that's what we were made for too, right? You need to
Right.
have your deep friendships, but then I just firmly believe that when we start to view everybody as worth of some of our time and some of our kindness, then your life's going to be filled with so much more love and joy because you're going to get more opportunities to not only love on people, but then to let people teach you and challenge you,
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think it's just because I really do love people that I think it's really cool when we get to like rub shoulders with different types of people in our life and just be curious. I think that's one of the answers or one of the like solutions to being nervous around new people is
Mhm.
like just be curious and learn to laugh at yourself. Um,
Yeah, not everything has to be so serious.
yeah.
And I think there's like a beauty in the unseriousness. Like,
Mhm.
even from the start of this episode, you can just see how sometimes like it's just great to let go and be unserious, make jokes with your friends. And
Mhm.
in that same like lane, when you are meeting people, sure, you might have an awkward conversation. You might like talk to someone for 2 seconds and you're like, I have nothing else to say. Like, it happens.
Yeah.
You're like, hi, how are you? And then the other person maybe is also shy and can't conversate. And you're just like, okay, moving on. But I think it's like the beauty of showing up and being there. Friendships blossom over time. Some fresh friendships blossom right away.
Yeah.
And just it's like the beauty of being together because God made us to be together. Like he
Mhm.
didn't leave Adam by himself. He said that's
Yeah.
not good. That was the only thing not good when he first made creation. He said that he needs to have someone and hence why Eve came in to have
Yeah.
community.
And I think too some what I was saying before too, it isn't because the goal is always friendship,
Mm,
Sometimes the goal is just I want to give this person like a a good part of my day, like a good part of myself. I want
yeah.
to be kind. I want to be uplifting. I want to be intentional and curious. And it doesn't mean that I walk away saying, like, they're my friend now, but it means that you like
Yes.
gave them your best self, like you put your best foot forward.
Mhm.
And awkwardness isn't a bad thing. Awkwardness is just natural. Like sometimes I don't even know like how to define it, but I feel like sometimes there's just not a flow or maybe you get stuck in your brain and you don't know what to say next and that just happens and if you learn how to laugh at yourself and how to understand that awkwardness is just a part of being human, then
Right.
your life will get so much more fun. Like I laugh at myself all the time now for the stupid things that
Same.
I do
Oh,
or
man.
say. One that happens to me all the time. I've
Ooh.
told you this. It's when okay, so normally when you walk past a person, you might say, "Hi, how are you? Good, whatever." I'm used to that. And even though some people are like annoyed because that's superficial and in America it's a very common thing to like, "How are you? Good. Oh, you good."
Right.
But it's a cultural like norm that helps you acknowledge a person.
Right.
I'm used to it and I think it's fine. And if you're going to stop and have a better conversation with me, then we'll go a little bit deeper, but
Mhm.
whatever. Well, the one that always gets me, and it started when I went to college because I was in college by a beach, and I think it's a very like surfy type of thing to
Mhm.
say. But people will be like, "What's up?" or like, "What's up, dude?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, what do I answer to what's up if you're passing by me and we aren't talking?
I have a great answer.
I've said good before. Multiple times people have been like, "What's up?" and I'm like, "Good."
And
And then
they're
I'm like,
like,
um,"
uh, wait,
and then I just keep walking.
Sammy, ask me what's up.
Okay, "Hey, Stasha, what's up?"
This guy.
I knew you were gonna say that. I've heard that before too, but I feel like in those moments,
I guess
I just
if you're, like,
haven't.
close enough with the person where it could be a funny moment to then spark a conversation,
Yeah.
you could
Some
totally pull
days I
that
just
out.
don't feel snarky enough to do that, or if it's someone who I don't know well, I wouldn't do
That's
it.
true.
The one I've adopted, but I hate it, is, like, sometimes saying, like, "Oh, nothing much, just work," or something, especially if I'm at work,
But wouldn't
or
you
I don't
say
know.
that's, like, the same type of vibe as, like, someone saying, "How are you?" and say, "Good"? Because like, we all
Oh,
say
yeah,
good,
it's the
but are
same
you good?
thing.
Are you really good?
Yeah, come
Probably
on.
not.
Sometimes I say "okay," but anytime I say "okay,"
Okay,
people
but
are like,
okay,
"What's wrong
like
with you?"
yeah, okay gives the
It's
like
more downy than
yeah, it
uppy.
sounds like you're like, "I'm okay."
Yeah, but I'm being honest at least, and then
That's true.
people still respond just like, "Oh."
And do they walk away?
If it's in passing, yeah, people keep walking.
That's so sad.
Or if they're like, "Oh, it is like anything going on?" I'll be like, "Oh, it's just a tough day, but it's okay." And then I'll keep walking. Cuz
Mm,
here's something I learned in a communication class in college is that even though those like questions can be kind of surface level in America, it is also like something that's a part of our culture that gives acknowledgement to a person's like existence. And
Mm,
so it's I think that for example, do I like love the fact that it's kind of service level? No. But am I gonna stop like acknowledging people as I walk past
that's
them?
true.
No.
But do you think it builds a culture of people who,
Don't care.
like, don't go deep and then kinda get stuck in this, like,
I think
surface level?
I think it could foster that if you stay in that mindset, but I think if you have your own, like, desire to have those deep friendships, then you will identify who those people are and go deeper with them.
That's true, and I think that's where
So,
just being aware and open to community
yeah.
can help take those
It's
moments of just being good or okay into,
yeah.
like, "Hey, I'm actually doing great. I've had a great week. How about you?" You know? It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be, and kinda going back to, like, you don't have to be friends even low level friends with every single person you know, like, at work, at church, at
Mhm.
school, in your neighborhood, but I think, like, just being genuine with people and showing people the love and kindness that Jesus showed people,
Yeah.
I think goes a long way because sometimes all someone really needs to hear is like a, "Hey, how are you?" When maybe the whole day no one has even acknowledged their presence,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it doesn't mean they have to be their best friend, and they're probably not even looking for that, but just, like, I don't know why we, like, all hide in holes sometimes and just hide from each other, and I really love that people are starting to open up and just I think it's, like, our generation is really starting to, like,
Mhm.
shift, like, that perspective and
Yeah.
stuff, and really, my dad's calling me. Is that bad if I, like, decline his call? Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Love you, dad. But, we're, like, building this culture we're trying to, like, change it around. I think there was, like, a time where people were very, like, alone and by themselves, and I see and before that, though, I think people were very much in culture, like, look at the '60s and '70s, like, the way that people would hang out with each other, there were groups
Yeah.
of people always having parties and hangouts
Yeah.
and not bad hangouts and
Well,
parties,
I
like,
think
good,
also
genuine ones,
yeah, I think social media and technology has added a whole new
like,
layer,
isolating us.
yeah, of isolation because
Yeah,
the more that we think we could be connected to tons of people across the world, the less that we're actually taking the time to invest in our one-on-one
right.
relationships in physical community right around us, and there you just have to be careful because I have friends around the world from some of my travel
Mhm.
experiences that I love, and I keep up with them as best that I can.
And you should still keep those relationships,
Yeah,
I think
there's
that's
it's not
amazing.
like it's a bad thing, and I've always been one to be friends with a lot of people in the sense of, like, my acquaintance and, like, casual friendships.
Yeah,
There's a lot of them because I just love being friendly with people and getting to know them, but I had to come to terms with over time recognizing that the people I let into my inner circle of, "Oh, you know what I'm praying through, you know what I struggle with," like, all of
right.
those things, that might be, like, a little bit less. It might be 5 to 10 people depending on
Mhm.
the season or the situation, and some people, like, I talk with about maybe work-related stuff, and other people I talk with about
Right, yeah.
relationship stuff, and then other friends I talk about everything with. And so it's just trying to pray through that journey of, okay, Lord, I want to be friendly to everyone because you've called me to love you and to love other people. But how can I have wisdom to choose the friends that I get to do life with in the
Mhm.
deepest way possible, you know?
Yeah, and I think even look at Jesus, because
Yeah, it's
his,
true.
like, circle of people, like, the breakdown is really, really cool. Like,
Yeah.
he obviously had the crowds following him, right?
Mhm.
And he interacted with a lot of people, and I wouldn't say that those people were close to him at all, but he did
Yeah.
have a lot of people. Then you start, like, breaking it down even further. He had his disciples, he had, like, some women around him, like Mary Magdalene and stuff like that. So there's, like,
Yeah.
now, like, this smaller core group, but not all of those people were his closest friends, right? Then you, like, keep breaking it further and further down till he has, like, his super core, like, group of people, who were in that group. Like
Like the 12 or
no, like, his,
the
like, 3, like,
3?
there's, like,
It was,
Peter,
Peter, John, I think
and
James?
then was John considered, like, his closest friend?
I mean,
Well, according to John, he
according to
was.
John himself, yeah. But I feel like it's pretty clear just from John's like account and the fact that Jesus on the cross told John like, "My mother's now your mother, like take care of
Yeah.
her" situation.
And, like, it's interesting
Um,
because
there's a closeness there.
right, and you know, you probably wouldn't I mean, you'd trust your mom to someone who's, like, very close to you.
Oh, for sure.
And it's really beautiful to show, like
Well, my closest friends in my life are also like friends with my mom, basically.
yes. Oh, Sammy's mom is fantastic. I love her.
Shout
Shout
out
out to Laura.
Laura.
Yeah, but it's like and I think it just shows, like, if you are in a maybe a mindset that you're like, "Oh, if I'm friends with people, I have to, like, give them, like, all the deepest secrets in my life."
Yeah,
Like,
that's
not
not the
everyone
case.
needs to know those things.
Yeah.
There are friendships that you can have that are purely just, like, fun community, your friends in Bible studies, you guys go to the beach, you talk about fun life things, but you're not wearing your heart on your sleeve to them, and not that it's you don't want to or you can't or something. You can if you want, but, I think that it's just, like, healthy to have different levels of friendships, and
Yeah.
if Jesus had different levels of friendships, then we should have different
Yeah.
levels of friendships and don't put like this hard like pressure on yourself
Yeah.
to be besties with everyone because A, that's actually not healthy to be
Yeah.
besties quote unquote with everyone.
Also, this just brings up another thought for me that I've struggled with, and I've seen other people struggle with it too. And now that I also get to like lead and serve high schoolers just in my like
Right.
spare time, like I have a small group of girls, love them so much. They're 10th graders, like stuff like that. I just see how other girls in my setting. I've seen guys too, but like they fall for the same trap over and over. And it's this trap of I need to be liked by
Mm,
everyone and I need to be able to have everyone like me so that then I have more friends. Like, you know what I mean? So people are starting to like, or they're not starting to, they have forever, but sometimes we start to associate being liked with having friends, and that's not
mm,
the same thing.
no.
But also, I feel like we need to. I feel like we need levels, like names for the types of friends. There's like, honestly, okay, shout out to Kate and JJ from Heart of Dating because she recently had this post and it was supposed to be first just talking about can guys and girls be friends, but we're not going to talk about that
That's a
today.
hot take right
We're not
there.
going to talk about that today. But in her post, she talks about like the levels of friends that she kind of identifies, and I really love them. She has like acquaintances first, like at the
Yeah.
bottom, I guess, the most broad one. Then casual friends, and you might like hang out,
Like once in a while,
you
maybe in group
know, yeah, in
settings.
group
Yeah.
settings. Like I think of our young adult community, like most of them would be my casual
Right.
friends, right?
Yeah.
Then there's oh, what's the name for it? I think she had like maybe close friends and then inner circle. And
Mm.
so close friends, you still kind of are doing life a little bit more
You might
intentionally
tell them
with
like
them.
a little bit more than most
Yeah,
people,
maybe you
right?
like tell them what you're praying through, stuff about your job, your family, all of that, but maybe you're not as consistent. Like there's some of my close friends from college that because we just don't live near each other, I still consider them really trustworthy and close, but we're not as consistent, right?
Right.
And then my inner circle like is what she had at the very top. Is the people that I'm really like talking to all the
Yes.
time. You know, the people you probably pin on your messages?
Ooh.
That's like
Okay, guys, what you're gonna go do is go see your bestie and see if you're pinned in their phone. Just go. Joking. That might be a conversation you might have to have with some people. Sammy,
yeah.
you're pinned in my phone.
You're pinned in my phone too.
We've made it into each other's inner circle. But you know what that makes me think is that people, and sometimes this may hurt a little bit, is that sometimes people can fluctuate within these levels of friendship.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
sometimes why I say it might hurt is because you might have people who were once in your inner circle go down to just being a casual friend.
Mhm.
Maybe they even go down to being an acquaintance. And maybe they
Mhm.
come down to not even being in your life at all. And there are times in seasons where God might bring people into your life for different roles. And maybe there's different seasons where people move around within those roles of friendship. But that's not something that you need to like hold on for dear life. Like if God is changing the friendships, there's beautiful things that He's doing because He might be
Yeah.
making room for someone else to
Yeah.
come into your life. Maybe He's making room for you to enter someone else's like inner circle.
Yeah.
And it's just like always moving. And it's not like, you're probably not even friends with the people you were friends in kindergarten, if you really think about it,
Mhm.
right? Like, I
Yeah.
can't even tell you my friend's
Oh,
name from
no.
kindergarten.
Yeah. And I think at some point, though, you want consistent people in your inner circle that you get to do
Yes,
life with,
for sure.
but you just have to be intentional. Because what if you, like, I don't know, we're talking about real adult stuff, like, you move to another country to work, you move to another state, you get married, you have kids, you have to be more intentional with your inner
Yes.
circle then. But, yeah, like Sesha was saying, some of those, friendships are gonna fluctuate and change. What I firmly believe is that you want to make sure that you try to keep the Lord at the center of all of those changes,
Mhm.
because sometimes there might be a situation where a certain friend becomes like not the healthiest for you to be around all the time. And maybe after praying about it, the best thing is for you to distance yourself.
Yeah.
And what I think is always like should be our main goal with people and relationships is, how can I love them like Jesus loves them? How
Mm,
can I still be like, I don't know, a good friend,
right.
even if the friendship is changing. And I think that means most of the time being very honest and gracious in your communication and saying, hey, like, I've noticed these things. If, let's say, it's like a close friend you have that has continually been living a lifestyle that you just cannot be around anymore, first, you should make sure you're having multiple conversations with them, because
Yeah,
then if
don't
there's no
blindside
change,
them.
yeah, you
That's
you need
not
to have
fair.
grace and you
Yeah.
need to be like patient. But if it comes to a point where there's no change, they keep hurting you, they keep doing all these things, and you've already had multiple conversations, there might just be a point where you have to say, hey, like, at this point, after really praying about it, I love you, but because I love you, I've been trying to tell you these things. And since you're still not changing or willing to, I'm gonna need to take a step back and have some distance
Mhm.
within this friendship. But I will still be praying for you. And I literally wish the best for you, but I just can't I like need the personal space.
Yeah.
That's hard. I'm trying to think. I haven't had a conversation like that, thankfully, but I've had to help facilitate that sort of stuff just in college with like giving advice to other friends or being an RA. I had girls on my hall that needed advice, and the Lord taught me a lot through those things. But, every awkward, hard conversation like that is worth it if you're going into it with the right heart of saying, I'm not trying to condemn them, not trying to judge them, but I'm
Mhm.
trying to share with them truth and love. But you always have to check your heart first and say, like,
Yeah.
am I doing this because I'm annoyed or jealous or spiteful? Because I
And
need
that
to
can be
clean
a
that
fine
out. I need to
line.
clean that
Yes.
out, and I need to pray and ask the Lord to get that out of my heart, and then
Mhm.
really ask Him for the exact words, maybe write before, journal before, But
It's like the
that's a
verse,
whole
like,
other
iron
area.
sharpens iron, and, like,
Yeah.
if you are both actively, seeking the Lord, there are gonna be times where you being a good friend calls for you to come to
Yeah.
your friend with love and grace and be like, "Hey, that's not okay," or, "Hey, like, that's not what God's word says, and you're actively participating in that."
Yeah, and honestly, if you want, like, just more encouragement and wisdom about these things, read Proverbs. It's
Proverbs is
incredible.
fantastic.
Yeah. But here's just a few verses from Proverbs 15, starting at verse 1. A gentle answer turns away anger, but a harsh word stirs up wrath. The tongue of the wise makes knowledge attractive, but the mouth of fools blurts out foolishness. The eyes of the Lord are everywhere, observing the wicked and the good. And I love this one. The tongue that heals is a tree of life, but a devious tongue breaks the spirit.
Mm,
Our words really do matter.
yeah.
Um, and some other truth in Proverbs that we could read in a second too, just relating back to the idea of learning how to be truly yourself when you're meeting other people or when you're interacting with other people. For me, at least, it all came down to recognizing that my fear of man and my insecurity and desire to be liked was greater than my fear of God. And when God showed me that in high school, at the end of my freshman year, it completely changed my perspective. And honestly, that and a mixture of other things just led me to really rededicate my life to God. And that's such a pivotal season of my life where I look and I'm like, wow, my faith became even more real and even more bold in that season because God was really showing me, girl, you care too much about what other people think. Honestly, I still struggle with it. It's my worst weakness, if that makes sense.
Your best
My
weakness.
best weakness. It's like the biggest weakness. It's the thorn in my flesh, as Paul would probably say. But because God exposed that to me early on, I've been able to learn how to fight it.
Mm,
And the best way to fight that is by replacing it with the fear of God, which is essentially this idea that we talked about before, but basically saying, I care way more about what God thinks about me than
mhm,
anything
mhm.
else. And in Proverbs 14:26, it says here, in the fear of the Lord, one has strong confidence, and his children have refuge. And as I started to experience that for myself, that's when I like blossomed. Like my personality came out. I was so timid before, especially
Mhm.
being at a new school, but then I became so much more like silly and goofy, and I got better friends because I started to just not care about fitting in as much.
Right.
And all of that came once I realized that the fear of the Lord is way more important, and I want to grow that and live in that instead of living in like fear of man.
Yeah. And I think, like, let's be real, like, entering a young adult community is scary.
Yeah.
Like, the first time that I came to our, like, young adult community, I was terrified because I was like, "I don't know anyone. I
Mhm.
don't even know, like, will people like me?" And, you always put your best foot forward, which isn't
Mhm.
terrible, but you do need to let, like, your personality out a little bit,
Yeah.
and just be a little bit vulnerable. Not saying, like, tell everyone your whole life story from the second you meet them, because I'm just gonna warn you right now, you might scare some people away,
Yeah.
but
That's almost like love bombing or
you don't
whatever
wanna
that is.
friend bomb people,
Yeah.
You also don't wanna be, like, the person who's, like, over trying, where you're trying to be everyone's bestie by, like, telling
Yeah.
people what they wanna hear,
Yeah.
acting in a
'Cause
way that's not natural to who you
yeah,
are.
then you're not being authentic to yourself because again, you're caring too much about what
Yes.
someone's gonna think of you
Right.
versus just being who God made you to
And
be.
that's a lot of, like, baggage to carry, like, over time, it's
Mhm.
gonna get hard being like, "Oh, I have to, like, keep doing this." It's hard. Sometimes you just wanna be your truest self, and honestly, at the end of the day, if other people are not willing to accept who you are and who God made you, like, and the truth that He has, like, over your life, then
Yeah.
unfortunately, those people, you probably don't wanna be friends with them anyways.
Mhm.
And if you are gonna be real and just yourself, you will find the community who's also real and is also themselves.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, beautiful friendship is fostered. And that's
Mhm.
where, as a group, you guys can grow each other, the iron sharpening iron. You can grow together in God's word, in your
Yeah.
relationship with the Lord. And it's just so beautiful. Like, even I feel like this last year in our young adult community, like, so many friends I've made that I've never thought in my
Yeah.
life I'd be friends with people like that. And again, nothing wrong or judgmental against them. Just, I don't know, never thought I'd have, like, so many great friends, and not saying like inner circle, just like, people who are
Yeah, casual
doing life
friends,
with,
people that you're getting to like hang out with and have maybe a small group with or go to the beach with.
And it's so awesome when you're, like, walking in such a big church and you turn, like, the hallway, and like, it's like it takes you 10 minutes to get down the hall because you keep getting stopped by people to say
Yeah.
hi to.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful versus you head down, head low,
Yeah.
don't look at anyone in their
Yeah.
eye, and, like, get out of church the second you run. Which,
Yeah.
another hot take. Are you running when you, like, leave church? If service is over and you're at your car in 2 seconds,
Yeah.
you should probably,
And some
rethink that a little bit, because friendship, it can be hard at first, but
yeah.
you do have to put yourself out there just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But don't run from opportunities. If your church has a young adult community, please get plugged in. Just start going. Join a small group or a life group
Yeah.
or community, whatever you guys call it. Everyone calls it something different. Bible study. Find that. And if you're saying, hey, but my church doesn't have this, then seek out that community, even if it is with older people. Start serving in your church, because friendships blossom everywhere if you just put yourself and you're like, I'm available for it. If you
Yeah.
if you close yourself off, it's
Yeah.
just gonna people are
It's
gonna see
really
that.
it's a two-way street, right? It's always going to be a little bit of give and take. So I'm not saying that oh, it's all your fault if you're not putting yourself
No,
out
no,
there
right.
because there are experiences that I've had that other people have had where
Yes.
they like do try and be friendly or put themselves out there and the community or the people that they meet are just really judgy or really mean. Like
Unfortunately,
that does
that does
happen.
happen. There are
But
cliques and things, but
yeah.
if you be genuine,
Yeah.
hopefully that inspires other
I
people
think
to be
the
genuine.
goal or I don't know, our desire and hope for this conversation is that you're encouraged to know that the more that you start to kick out all of those cares of what other people think of you and just care about who God is and who he made you to be, First of all, the more you're going to really become yourself because
Mhm.
God, the one who made you, he's the artist, right? So he's going to mold and shape you into the vision he has in mind.
Right.
So, like, who are we to try and like be someone else when the one who created us and who created the whole universe is wanting to continue shaping us into this like person that he made for us to be, right? So that's the first thing. You become more and more of who you were made to be when you start to care more about what God thinks. But the second thing that happens is you get to like love other people and experience their love in return as you put yourself out there and build the friendships and build the community that God made for us to live in. And you
Mhm.
get to be a part of it. And it's messy and it's ugly. The church is not perfect. People are not
No,
perfect.
they're not.
And don't expect them to be because they're never going to be.
Yeah, if that's something you've been told, that is a lie of the enemy
Yeah.
because we are human and we are born literally sinful. And,
Yeah.
you can try as much as you want to be perfect, but you will never be perfect. And
Yeah.
only Jesus, like his, blood and sacrifice on this cross is what washes you clean to be
Yeah.
perfect in the eyes of God. But it's like between each other, you just have to, if there's a hard person there. You love them the way that Jesus loves you. And you never know that kind of love towards them might make them realize, like, wait, I'm not being loving towards people. Sometimes, like, you
Yeah.
kill them with kindness.
Kill 'em with kindness. No, but
Not
I
literally,
mean,
but kind
yeah.
of, and obviously don't let yourself be used in that kind of environment, but definitely show love to people because sometimes, like, even to someone who is a follower of Christ, maybe like, how people say, like, the only Bible they'll ever read is you.
Yeah.
So you really do need to
Yeah.
live like that, even to the people who can be a little,
Yeah, and I just think the more that we get to experience life in relationship with each other in Christ-centered, like, loving relationship with each other, even if it's not perfect and if there's still hurt and hardship, the more we experience the love of Jesus, the more we get to walk with him.
yes.
Because, especially within the church, people who have decided to like accept the gift of Jesus' sacrifice and become a Christian and follow him, they receive the Holy Spirit, and
Mhm.
that Holy Spirit lives in each and every one of us. So when we get together, it's like the Holy Spirit is in each and every one of us. So we just get to all like I don't know, enjoy each other. And then in that moment, you're getting to enjoy God in a beautiful
I
way.
agree. It's even like the hard moments with friends. If you've ever done something dumb, let's just say I have, and you've hurt a friend, and then you go and ask for forgiveness and apologize.
Yeah.
And when they give it to you and they don't hold it against you, it just makes me think of like, wow, like that's the kind of love that Jesus shows
Yes.
us because
Yes.
I do way worse to
Yes.
to God and like with all
Yeah.
my sin over my whole lifetime and the fact that he forgave us for it and
Yeah.
doesn't like remember in the sense like he won't
Yeah.
hold it against you
Yeah.
and embraces you and brings you into his family is just like a beautiful like friendship can teach you that the beauty of the
Yes.
gospel in itself and it's like all these moments just like unconditional love from friends when you're having hard times they come and surround you and love you and wash like God's word over you and pray for you like how
Yeah.
beautiful is having
It's
like
so
community.
worth it. It's
I
so
love
worth
it.
it. And if you feel like you're in a place where you don't know where to find it, then I would just encourage you to pray. Like the I know that sounds silly, but the Lord hears your prayers and that's a prayer he wants to answer. And maybe he's taking a moment to help you work on yourself. Like that happened to me before I got really good close friendships in high school. I
Mhm.
had to work on myself with the Lord, but then he
Right.
brought them. So like just pray and also put yourself out there,
Be
find
open.
something. Yeah, be open
People
and
can like you can tell when someone's closed off or open,
yeah.
and people are more willing to bring you in if you're open to
And
it.
just give people the benefit of the doubt. Be curious, be kind, and yeah, just start a conversation.
Yes, and this is a big one. Starting conversations, and we'll kind of start wrapping it up here. But one thing that I learned because I was notorious, and I still kind of am like this, where I always expected people to interact with me first. I
Mhm.
always wanted people to come up and
You
say hi to me
waited.
first, and I
Yeah.
waited for someone to come and say, "Hey, how are you?" And after a while, I was like. Honestly, like grumbling. I'm like, why does no one want to be my friend? Why do people not come say hi to me? Why do people not do this? Why do people not talk to me? And I stopped and it finally hit me and I'm like, but Stasha, you aren't doing that either.
Yeah.
Like, what if that person over there is also thinking the same thing I am? And we're just two people here sitting, why is no one talking to me? Why is no one blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
And I honestly just had to get over myself.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna be a little like real here, but get over yourself. In the most loving and kindest way, really, you do have to get over yourself and your fears, these like irrational fears,
Yeah.
and just get over yourself and maybe make the first move and say hi,
Yeah.
because you never know what a single hi can just transform your life and will build friendships that you never
Yeah.
thought. And of course, there will be people who will, I know, who will come to you first if you really, really can't and you just have a lot of anxiety. I encourage you to make
Mhm.
the first step,
Yeah.
but this is also saying if you're like Sammy who's super extroverted and or like me who's learned to be extroverted, which hey, that is something you can learn. That is a skill you can learn. I've learned it, so you can learn it. But maybe you be that person. You see that person at church or at work or at school or wherever in the corner. You always see them. You see them every week, but they never talk to anyone. They never sit anywhere. I think just like let it like just think about it and be like, what if like they're waiting for someone to come say hi to them
Yeah.
and they just are too shy? Be that person who comes in and maybe you're like, maybe they're not someone who's gonna be your friend, but bring them to other people. Be like, hey, I know there's a really great group of people who will be really great, like fit for like you guys can be great friends. You guys have similar interests. You guys like the same things. Let me introduce you.
Yes, be a
Start be a
bridge.
bridge. Oh, I like that.
Yes.
Be
I
a
love being a
bridge.
bridge for people. There's so many times where I'm like, you need to meet this person. But I think it's just a secret, like, I don't know, hobby that I have. I love introducing friends to each
Matchmaking
other.
friends.
Yes.
I like that. Match make friends.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think being a bridge in your community, if you found your community and you've set and you're like, hey, I've got this popping off, then I think like remember where you were before you were at this moment because we didn't all start off with this amazing community.
Yeah.
And be the bridge for other people and invite them in because I think Jesus was really good at inviting people in. And that's what he did. He's like, come follow me. Like
Yeah.
he invited them in.
Yeah.
So invite people because some of us just want to be invited.
Yeah. And I think too, like, just to encourage you guys, it takes practice. Some days you might miss an opportunity. Some days you might not think about it. You might be like, oh, I just thought like that they didn't want to be invited, or I thought that someone else was gonna do it. And if
Well,
you like slip up in that, that's okay.
yeah.
But catch yourself and then say, you know what, next time I want to do better. Or, you know, I'm actually gonna have a conversation and say, hey, I didn't think of this initially, but now I did and I want to invite you to this. Or I don't know, just
Yeah.
like
And, like,
it
I'm not
takes
perfect at this at
practice.
all. I'm definitely still learning to remember to do those things because sometimes you can get caught up in the moment and forget and not
Yeah.
like,
And
it
it
doesn't
depends
cross your mind.
like you said with your personality, like if you're the type to normally want others to invite you first, maybe you're not used to like being the one to invite and now
Mhm.
you have to retrain your brain. And for me, sometimes I talk to so many people at once that I don't have an intentional conversation where someone has undivided attention. And that's something I need to work on, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I have a quote to share if you
Yes.
think that's good to end. So, there's this book, it's a kid's book, it's so cute. It's called The Velveteen Rabbit. And it's about this toy rabbit that a boy loves so much that he starts to like, the rabbit, you know, when you have a stuffed animal, like they look kind of crazy after you love them for so long. But the
Oh, they look
boy,
so rattled
yeah.
and torn up.
So the boy gets sick, and then the rabbit has to be discarded because it had like germs or something like that. But then this like magical fairy comes and sees how much the rabbit was loved and makes it a real rabbit. So
Stop.
it's cute. It's
My
cute.
heart.
I honestly haven't read it in so long that I forgot I had to use ChatGPT to remember the plot. But this quote is one of my favorites. And this is what the rabbit says. It says, you become, it takes a long time. That's why it doesn't happen often to people who break easily, or who have sharp edges, or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all because once you are real, you can't be ugly except to people who don't understand.
Wow.
So cute, right? It's so
That's so
cute. It's
cute.
so worth it to be loved and to love others that even if it like, you know, hurts at times, it makes you real. And the
Yeah.
whole like, I don't know, I think part of our purpose on this earth is to experience just real life, a life where we get to encounter with the real
Mhm.
living God and get to enjoy the real living things and the real living people that He's put around us.
Yes.
And that's just always worth it. So,
And I love that last line where it's like, if you look ugly to people, it's because they don't understand.
yeah.
And how many people just didn't understand Jesus and they
Hmm.
were, like, oh, like, saying all these things against him. And how beautiful it is when the people do understand.
Yeah.
It's life transforming. It is beautiful. And that's
Yeah.
where that God works in these ordinary moments and ordinary
Hmm.
friendships, in your ordinary, hard, awkward conversations
Yeah.
and
And
awkward moments.
experiences. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And that's part of what makes the ordinary wonderful. So, with that being said, we love you guys so much, and please let us know your thoughts and any other topics you'd want to hear. And follow us on social.
Yes, the social is a great place for you guys to connect with us if you
Yeah.
want to um, get more of like a sneak peek into our lives and just ask questions. But actually, going off on that, hopefully sometime soon, we'd love to do like a Q&A episode. So if there's any question that you would ever want to ask, whether it's about faith, whether it's about friendship, whether it's about relationships or the Holy Spirit, I don't know, you name it.
Topics.
Just any topics or any random question that you would love for us to touch on or answer, send us a DM or comment on this video wherever you want to, or audio. I don't know, wherever you're watching or listening.
Hmm.
We're gonna start collecting those, and we'll probably throw out a poll like on Instagram soon. So, with that being said, we're gonna end with my
Yes.
end tagline.
Yes.
I hope you guys have a wonderfully ordinary week.
Bye.
Bye.